In John chapter 10, verse 10, Jesus said, "The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I came so you may have life and have it to the full." When we think of life as human beings, we normally think primarily of biological life, that we're alive. We think of the fact that we're living and breathing beings. And when Jesus said, "I've come that you might have life," he did not use the common word for life, bios, where we get our word biology. That's the normal aspect of human living, human life. He reached into the Greek language when he said, "I've come that you may have life," and he grabbed hold of a word out of the Greek language and said, "I've come that you may have Zoe." That's the Greek word, life. That word Zoe is quite different from the word bios. It's a word that speaks of something more of life that has to do with the quality of life. It speaks of a life that is full of fulfillment and full of fruitfulness. It is a life that is rich in meaning and rich in value. It's not just living, but it's being alive. So you can be living but not really be alive. You can be living but never really have life inside of you. And so Jesus said, "I came that you might have Zoe. I came that you might have this fulfilling kind of life and this fruitful kind of life. I want you to experience something more than just being physically alive. I want you to be spiritually alive." Now, just like in the biological realm and just the natural dimensions of life, you need certain things to exist. You can't live without breath. You can't live without water. You can't live without food. In the spiritual realm, you can't live without certain things. This Zoe life requires essentials. And that's what we're looking at in this series together. We're talking about the essentials of the Zoe kind, the God kind of life. And we talked about the fact that you really can't have this kind of life without love. You need the love of God inside of you. You need God's love flowing through you. Life is really not worth living without love. And then you need to be inspired with a purpose, and that God has something for you to do with your life. And that's what we're talking about in this part of the series. And then we'll move on to talking about the importance of faith. You can't have real Zoe kind of life without having faith. And then finally, we'll talk about the engagement of your life. You can't find and experience the fullness of life and the fruitfulness that Christ has for you without being engaged in something meaningful, putting your efforts to work at something, serving God and serving other people.